I have these 2 courses and I'm going to make them free. I'm going to put them on the internet free to anybody who is interested in taking a course on how to feed their kids. So I've decided to document my journey along the way of all these new changes that I'm making in my business. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of backstory about how I got to where I am now and the big decisions that have recently been made and where we're going from here. I'll have another video about more of like the behind the scenes of the last year and a half of my business. So this is just a quick synopsis. So I quit my 9-to-5 job about a year and 3 months ago. So I decided to start my own business, and the direction I had planned on taking in my course was taking some private one-on-one clients for medical nutrition therapy and focusing on a course for parents of picky eaters. So as I started to work more on these projects, I realized that my passion really lied in educating people online. So I decided to stop accepting private clients and focus all of my time on working on my course. And so part of that for me looked like investing in a business program and a business coach. Now, it was a lot of money and it was a big investment. We invested $10,000, which is like hard for me to say that now because it's a huge chunk of money, but we invested $10,000 in a course and coaching program that focused on using an evergreen webinar funnel to monetize my course and scale my course and help me reach more people and help more people was my goal. And it just like, there's part of my gut this whole time, not before I joined this coaching program, but from the beginning, that it was just salesy and kind of slimy. But you know, the model worked for other people, and so I stuck with it for a year. And by the time that my year in the program was up, I was realizing that this wasn't working for me because my goal was helping as many people as I can, and the method of selling my program always left some information like reserved for the people in my program, and that program wasn't accessible to everybody because it was expensive. My course, I originally had priced my course. It's still like open for the next year to, anyways, for reasons that we'll talk about in another video, but my course right now is $297. And so that is not accessible for a lot of families and a lot of parents and a lot of moms. So even though the content in my course was really helping all of the members in my course, there was a lot of positive feedback, there was still like a subset of the population that I wasn't helping because the information wasn't accessible to them. Now, granted, I was putting out a lot of like free content on Instagram and helping people that way, and I got a lot of good feedback on it on Instagram as well, but like there was still this part of me that's like, I wasn't fully committed to the like helping as many people as I can. And my husband actually is the one who kind of was encouraging me to look at things differently and think outside the box. So while I know that courses can work really well for some people, like paid courses can work really well for some people, this approach of like hosting a webinar and teaching some stuff, but then having a sales pitch at the end, it just didn't feel genuine to me. So I started to talk a lot more with my audience. I had a lot of like surveys and phone calls with my audience, and I identified a couple barriers to implementing the interventions. One of them being that they weren't getting the right information that they wanted from their pediatrician. And, this is for a number of reasons. Pediatricians, they're wonderful, but they're stretched thin. They don't have all the resources that they need. They don't have enough time with their patients to give them a full nutrition intervention to talk about starting solids or picky eating, so they just give them a handout. Pediatricians don't have extensive education in nutrition, so perhaps they're not all of them, but some of them might not be up to date on the latest nutrition guidelines, or even if they wanted to be, they have to keep up with so many other areas of medicine and research. And so regardless, people, I saw it very consistently, were not getting the information that they wanted from their pediatricians. That was one barrier. So now pediatricians now are having trouble with connecting patients, obviously, to that information, because if they can't provide it themselves, they should be connecting, but they're not. So why? Do we have, we don't have enough pediatric dietitians. Dietitians, maybe as a field, we don't do as good of a job as we should be telling other medical providers in our network that we're available, that we're here to help. A lot of dietitians aren't credentialed with insurance because reimbursement is so horrible that a lot of private practice dietitians are cash pay, and pediatricians want these services to be affordable to their clients. So oftentimes they're not referring clients or their patients to cash pay dietitians because that's really expensive. And so there's a lot of barriers there. And then finally, obviously, the barrier of just the individual cost. So some families can't afford a $300 course to work on these things with their kiddos like they want to. And some can, but maybe they have other priorities that they want to spend their money on, or maybe they just don't want to spend $300 on a course. So for whatever reason, finances, connection to information was a barrier, and it was a huge problem. And my goal with my business was to help as many parents as possible, because this information is truly life-changing. And we have the potential to shift the nutrition and diet habits of an entire generation from something that is focused on shrinking your body size and a dislike for the way your body looks and a focus only on eating to make your body look a certain way, to eating to fuel your body, eating because you love your body. And that's like a really profound shift. And charging $300 for a course just wasn't going to make that impact that I wanted. So talked a lot about it with my husband. I read Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V on Instagram. He's wonderful. I really like his content for any of you who are in business. So I started to think, how can I think outside the box? Like, how can I provide this information to parents, make it accessible, make it affordable, help as many people as possible, like financial goals aside for myself. Like, what if I put that aside and just seek to truly help people and only seek that? How would I approach my content? And also, how can I revolutionize the field of dietetics and the field of pediatric nutrition to make these services available to everybody, not just people who have a lot of money to pay cash pay? So when I really thought critically about it, I realized that the way for me to do that is to make my content free, like totally free. So I spent a year working on my course. I actually have 2 courses now and more coming in the pipeline. But I spent a year working on these 2 courses. So Growing Intuitive Eaters 101 is a course for parents to help their kids eat more veggies, not obsess over sweets, have healthy relationships with food, prevent and reverse picky eating, and prevent passing on any bad diet or body image issues that they as a parent have onto their kids. So it's a really comprehensive course. It's very evidence-based, based in science. There's a lot of practical tools. So that's kind of like my flagship signature program. And then I also have I called it a mini course at the beginning, but it's no longer a mini course. It's a full-fledged introducing solid food to babies course. That is called Feeding 101. And that is, again, a course for introducing solid foods to infants. It's not just baby-led weaning, it's not just puree, it's a baby-led feeding style approach. So it's an evidence-based style of feeding an infant that takes the family's preference into account. So you can start with purees, you can start with baby-led weaning. It's a no judgment approach, it's a scientific approach. And so I put out that course as well. And I'm realizing as I'm, interacting with my audience on Instagram, how much these are needed. So I have these 2 courses and I'm going to make them free. I'm going to put them on the internet free to anybody who is interested in taking a course on how to feed their kids. Now, there's tons of courses out there from pediatric dietitians, my wonderful colleagues. There's courses from pediatricians and just random people too about how to feed your kids. And now there's a free option. And I'm excited to contribute to the field in this way to make this information accessible to everybody, because no parent should feel like they are limited in feeling empowered and educated when they feed their kids. And this is one way that I am going to help with that. So these courses that I've worked really hard on, put my blood, sweat, and tears into. I literally quit my job to make these courses, and now I am giving them away for free because I think that this information is just so important to parents. So this is my first vlog documenting my business journey of making my course free. I'm planning on putting all my content on YouTube with links to any worksheets, workbooks, etc. So yeah, if you or anybody you know wants to take a course on how to introduce solids to your kids, on how to raise healthy and intuitive eaters, now you have a evidence-based option written and designed by a nutrition PhD and pediatric registered dietitian, me, and it's free. So anybody can take it and access it as long as they have access to internet. So I recognize that is still a barrier for some people, but I'll have to figure out how I'm going to approach that barrier next. But we're breaking down barriers here, and cost's the first one. So this information is going to be free for everybody, available on YouTube. So you no longer have to pay to learn how to feed your baby solid foods, or to learn how to introduce food to your baby. You no longer have to pay to learn how to help your picky eater. You no longer have to pay to learn how to help your toddler not be picky. You no longer have to pay to learn how to help your kids develop a healthy relationship with food, because that's going to be free. I am going to continue to keep my content only within the course until January 2022. So this content is still only available to my subscribed members, the people who have paid for my course up until this point. And come January 2022, this content will start to be added to my YouTube channel, where you can learn about this for free. So I'm excited to have you join. And I'm gonna keep vlogging and talking about my journey making this content for free, how it's affecting my business, and we'll go from there. But I'm really excited to help lots of parents. I'm really excited to bring this information to parents in an accessible and affordable way, because every parent deserves to have access to this. So thanks for following along.